been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
11 and 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it is going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tonight, the future of the association is forever changed. Hello and welcome to SportsGrid's 2024 NBA Draft Special, live right here all across the SportsGrid network. He is OK Dubs. That is Kevin Walsh. I am Ben Stevens. Our coach, James Young, JY, on with us throughout these next 3.5 or 4 hours for the entirety of the opening round of the 2024 NBA Draft. There is plenty to break down, Kev, for the prospects that will hear their names called in Brooklyn, New York tonight. Members of this 2024 NBA Draft class. The battle for number 1 overall, the Atlanta Hawks, will soon be placed on the clock to begin the 2024 NBA Draft. And as we get going, you might have heard some rumors that maybe this is not the most illustrious draft in the history of the association. And in context and comparison, that may be true. But, Kev, there is plenty of notoriety and storylines to break down tonight.
No doubt about it. And we've had movement at the top pick throughout this process. We have the potential for some big trades tonight, which we're always excited about. And I also think we have some impact players coming off the board. I mean, we'll start it right away. This idea that this is the worst class that's ever been presented in front of the NBA's audience is not something that I agree with. I think you have potential all-stars throughout this draft. It's just that they're not necessarily going to go where they're supposed to. Isaiah Collier, Ron Holland, guys that'll fall. Reed Shepherd and Stephon Castle, two of my favorite players in this class. Both had the pedigree at big-time schools, Kentucky for Reed Shepherd, and, of course, a national champion, and Stephon Castle. If I was in the room, one of those two names would be called first tonight, paired maybe with a Trae Young or DeJounte Murray. There's a lot to unpack in Atlanta. It's also unlikely either of those kids make their way there.
The Atlanta Hawks will be on the clock here very soon with the number 1 overall selection. 8 p.m. Eastern time is when the 2024 NBA Draft will officially get underway in Brooklyn, New York. But here with you throughout the entirety of this opening round, however long it takes, in a new format in the NBA Draft this year. For the first time since we had strictly 2 rounds, dating back to 1989, The NBA Draft is a 2-night event. Round number 1 on this Wednesday, round 2 tomorrow night on a Thursday. And here for the entirety of the 30 picks and selections that will be made, our coach, James Young, JY, giving you that unique perspective, his coaching, scouting report, and his prospect breakdowns across all of the association on this Wednesday. JY, hello to you. Excited to be with you for the entirety of this opening round.
It's been a fun ride preparing for this draft, a draft where there could be a lot of twists and turns where guys get picked, like Kev said, maybe not where they're expected to go, but there is talent and intriguing names where they end up and how they help their teams moving forward.
So when we look at the number 1 overall pick odds, as of this moment, Zachary Rizache is the favorite out of France. This could be the first time in the history of the NBA draft we see 2 non-college stars go number 1 overall in consecutive years. It was Rizache's fellow Frenchman and countryman last year, Victor Wembanyama, of course, that was the first overall selection. Kev, we'll talk about the odds movement that has led us to number 1 overall, but first we start with a very intriguing prospect who has the second best price to go number 1 overall. That is Donovan Clingan, the 2-time national champion, the big man for the Connecticut Huskies, is maybe the most intriguing prospect from an odds perspective. We're just about 25 minutes away from the start of the 2024 NBA draft. What is the latest you are seeing in the numbers surrounding Donovan Clingan's draft prospects?
Yeah, it's good timing, Ben. I'll tell you this. He's not going first overall. Listen, there's going to be a lot of coverage out there in this space. You've made the right choice by tuning in here. But Shams Charania is also live and has used phrasing such as honed in and sense around the league as to Rizache going first off the board. This number at minus 480 on the FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 900. Well, didn't stop there. Minus 1,500 now. Those numbers are not outdated unless you consider 2 minutes ago to be outdated. Here's the story on DraftKings. Minus 500 is minus 1,000. The incredible thing is, we're not all too far removed. Both you and I were there. NFL draft, Caleb Williams. This is a discount, quite frankly, on Rizache. And in fact, if you bet his minus 480, let's not talk about the earlier numbers that Coach had incredibly advised people to get to, and I know we'll talk about that, Ben. But Rizache now coming off the board 1. It lends to your Clingan question. I'm sure we're probably going to stick on this a little bit here. But Donovan Clingan, it was either first or not second. So now 3, 4, or 5 if he's going to cash a heavy favorite price to go 5th.
Donovan Clingan, who has the second best price to be the first overall pick, is not the favorite to go number 2 overall. That is Alex Sarr at minus 1,100. We'll focus on the French prospects in the battle for number 1 that might be all but closed with the Shams Charania report and a minus 1,500 price on Zachary Rizache. But before we get to that debate, we start with the big man for UConn, their most critical piece throughout their run to a second consecutive national championship. And JY, from the odds perspective, Clingan the second best price to go number 1 overall, the second best price to go number 3 overall, the second best price to go number 5 overall, and right now is a favorite on the FanDuel Sportsbook to be that 7th overall selection. Where in the top 10 or in the lottery might we hear Donovan Clingan's name called on this Wednesday evening?
Well, it's amazing, Ben, because once you get past Alex Sarr, obviously Donovan Clingan being the best big on the board, but his ability to block shots and be a rim protector, you look at these teams in that top 10 that struggle defensively, right? So you see he has a high field goal shooting percentage at about 64%. He does rebound the ball at 7.4 rebounds per game. Didn't play a ton of minutes, Ben. So when you look at a guy like Donovan Clingan, where can he fit? Can he fit at a place like Houston if you want to move Alperen Sengun to the 4? Unless you're moving. Can you play him at the 5? Or at the 5th pick with Detroit, or even at 7, because you obviously know that Portland has not favorite denominating.
We're having some audio technical difficulties here, so Kev, I spin it right back to you. Donovan Clingan minus 390 to be a top 5 selection, but you just shared his odds outlook. Will the odds be correct? Will Donovan Clingan be one of the first 5 picks off the board tonight?
So the fascinating thing throughout this process has been Donovan Clingan being this heavy favorite to go 5, but being a man without a home. None of the individual slots had Clingan favored. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you couldn't find one. You now can. He is the first choice at 7. That's plus 340. It pales in comparison even to a Reed Shepherd's near minus 300 price, which is gaining to go third overall. But Donovan Clingan at 7 seems to be the floor. We are in an interesting spot, and we're going to be ready to react and move if news comes, and it may only come during the draft, which then begs the question, what kind of live markets could we see? We saw robust live markets for the NFL draft, so we may see them. But Donovan Clingan going earlier than 7 might require a trade. Betting on a trade can always be dangerous, Ben. So that plus 340 number at 7 is still eye-catching.
And as we have seen here in the opening moments of our SportsGrid draft special for the 2024 NBA draft, we have already seen tons of odds movement. But, Kev, it's not just the numbers today or in the last 48 hours on Zachary Rizache. It's been the last 2 weeks. And, Coach, you've been all over the odds movement on Rizache. Just 2 weeks ago, had the second best price to be the number 1 overall pick, and now is a minus 1,500 favorite. Quickly here, why is the odds market so favorable on Rizache now with his prospect status?
Well, it's probably because of the fact that you may have Atlanta maybe moving from DeAndre Hunter and the fact that the amount of money that DeAndre Hunter may make, he could slide Rizache into that spot, and it makes sense. Evan Sider reported it a couple of weeks ago, and right when he's at plus 425, that's why I told people to jump in, figuring that he was going to be the number 1 pick for the Hawks.
And with that odds movement, Rizache is now minus 1,500. Will it be 2 consecutive number 1 overall selections out of France, with Victor Wembanyama a year ago to the San Antonio Spurs and the Atlanta Hawks waiting to hear their name called and on the clock? But on this draft day, a ton of intensity ramped up around the association. Some big news to bring you from New York, but that's Manhattan up next.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau!
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. It'd move him to 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
Tyrrell Hatton having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Ancer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Ancer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead, and that is wonderfully done. Abe Ancer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
We are still about 20 minutes away from the start of the 2024 NBA draft. Over inside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, the Atlanta Hawks will soon be on the clock with the number 1 overall selection. But Kev, on this draft day, and really the eve of the 2024 NBA draft, Brooklyn was the focus, and across the East River inside Madison Square Garden in Manhattan as well. The blockbuster deal overnight, Mikal Bridges traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the New York Knicks. He will join his Villanova teammates Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, and in return, the Brooklyn Nets get a haul. 4 unprotected first-round picks and another first-round pick down the line. But things were not done there in the greater Big Apple area. Just about an hour and a half ago, despite adding Mikal Bridges last night, the New York Knicks sign and extend OG Anunoby. A 5-year deal, $212 million. What have you made of the past 24 hours or so for the Knickerbockers?
Well, I know what the market's made of it, and it's, all right, this is a real title contender. This team's got juice. Same odds at this point in time right now on FanDuel as the Denver Nuggets to win a title. Plus 750, tied for the second best price in the entire landscape. Now, that is a boost that cannot only be credited to Mikal Bridges or even just bringing back OG Anunoby. It speaks to the run that the Knicks went on last year. And it's the fact that there are some who believe that the Knicks been able to stay healthy, just healthy, they could have pushed Boston very legitimately in a conference finals. You always want to just assume health in the following season, add in a Mikal Bridges, and now things get very interesting for New York. And while it's been a string of positive news, questions are not done here for the Knicks. With OG in, every assumption is Isaiah Hartenstein will be out. The Knicks-Claxton deal, which did just as well break, is not going to make life any easier on bringing back Isaiah Hartenstein. So if you're going to lose him, you're likely going to have to stick to Mitch Rob as your 5. Maybe you hit a home run tonight. Knicks still have 2 picks here on tonight's draft board. But the big question, and I know when we throw to Coach, he's going to get into it. What happens with Julius Randle? It's hard to be the Nova Knicks and only start 2 of them. Hart and Dante somewhat command starting spots. I think either one would be happy to take the back seat. I think both would be all in all. But is Julius Randle the right piece for this basketball team? Or could they be better overall now and for the future if they made Randle available? Plus, with all the money implications, it feels like it would be a yes.
And that's the next question for the New York Knicks during these summer months. On this draft day, I know our coach, James Young, JY, woke up with a very large smile on his face because it was the 2024 NBA draft, but maybe even furthermore because of the acquisition last night of Mikal Bridges. And I think, JY, that smile has probably even grown wider with the signing of OG Anunoby. He remains in New York, again, that 5-year, $212 million deal. But Kev asked the question, and so will I. What is the future of Julius Randle with the Knicks?
It's amazing, guys, because Julius Randle's become such a polarizing figure with the Knicks. His performances during the regular season have been outstanding. But what about that first-round series versus Atlanta a few years back? How about his performance last year in the playoffs? And then obviously he missed the playoffs this year. So Julius Randle has a contract, if I'm not mistaken, has 1 year left and then an option. He becomes an attractive commodity. Now, for New York, metrics show that they shot the ball better from 3 with Julius in the lineup because of his ability to drive the ball. But you got to realize, folks, you look at the Knicks, they may be looking at playing at times, you saw it when he got hurt, OG at the 4, now Bridges at the 3. You saw OG at times defending Joel Embiid in that first-round series versus Philadelphia. I think it's a polarizing figure. I sense that Julius Randle could be traded by the Knicks.
Now, I will say, and I think it's kind of in our nature to always ask what's the next move. But to talk about the state of it all, the New York Knicks, at minimum, should have one of the 5 best defenses in basketball. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are probably in a contest, they'll feel, with one another for the best perimeter defender in this sport. They're on the same dang team, right? And the offense found a level last year. There's perimeter shooting. We know that to be true. I don't want to downplay what Randle can bring to the table. It just feels as if you can get more. You don't need Randle to maximize what they have. On the Brooklyn end of it, though, and this is going to factor in today.
For sure.
It's open season. They're done. They're out. The other sneaky move was them getting their draft assets back from Houston that they initially had given up in order to bring James Harden, which feels like a decade ago, to the Nets to join Durant and Kyrie Irving. So you're talking Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson. I'm fascinated, unsurprisingly, in what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. Could it be a buyout? Is he going to play basketball? He's always a fair question. But you also now have Brooklyn heavily in the race if you want a one-year-out spoiler to hope they can draft Cooper Flagg, who'll be minus a gazillion to go in that spot.
As of right now, the Brooklyn Nets do not have a pick throughout either of the two rounds of the 2024 NBA draft. But in Brooklyn, where the draft will be held tonight, more news, that 4-year, $100 million deal with Nick Claxton for him to remain in this Nets organization. And Kev, some more news that affects directly the NBA draft on this Wednesday evening. The Washington Wizards and the Portland Trailblazers engaging in a deal. Denny Advada is on his way to the Rose City to become a member of the Blazers. In return, Portland sends back Malcolm Brogdon to the Wizards and tonight's 14th pick. The Blazers were slated to have 2 picks in the lottery, 7 and 14. Now it will be the Wiz who have the number 2 overall selection, where Alex Sarr is heavily favored to go, and that 14th selection as well.
Yeah, at 14, this gets very interesting. Now, there are still odds available for that over on DraftKings. The favorite, Nicole Topic, right now, plus 400. Ron Holland, plus 650. I like the move for Washington because, as I said, I like players in this class, and they're not largely being drafted how I see them. I think they'll be able to get a good player at 14. Can they? As far as Portland goes, everybody says Klingen's the stop point here. To take this from Coach, because we don't have enough time to get it over to him, he said if it's not Klingen, could it be Zach Edey? Well, if Klingen's off the board, 5, 6, maybe Zach Edey ends up a top 10 pick.
The Wizards also hold the 26th pick of tonight's opening round. It will be the 9th consecutive season at least one NBA franchise has made 3 first-round picks. Will it be night 1 or night 2? The Bronny James discussion. Where is he drafted, and to which team does he go? We'll do that up next here on SportsGrid.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him to 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
So having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
Welcome back to SportsGrid's 2024 NBA Draft Special, and for the first time in the history of the NBA Draft, it is a 2-night event. Round number 1 on this Wednesday evening. Round number 2 slated to begin on a Thursday evening as well. And one of the main storylines of this 2024 NBA draft is Bronny James. In which round will he be selected, and where is his destination in the association? Kev, there has been so much conversation around Bronny James because of who his father is, but as he tries to chart his own course in the association, I ask you this first question. With Bronny Watch now officially underway on the opening night of the 2024 NBA draft, will we hear Bronny James's name called on this first night?
I can tell you it'd be a stunner. I can tell you the books aren't expecting it whatsoever. A plus 750 number currently for that to be the case. You know, I'm someone who took a Bronny James under draft position of 39.5, plus 120 odds. Yeah, we don't run from this stuff about a month ago. And the thought was there would be enough buzz. And what if he gets into the first round? Well, that number, as you can see, is currently 54.5. But let's make no bones about it. This isn't a dropping number because Bronny's going through a slide. This is a number that says the Lakers are drafting him at 55, point blank, period. It is a very difficult thing to parse through, though. The Bronny stuff is a difficult conversation if you want to have it appropriately. If you want to have an awful conversation, you can go, his dad, blah, blah. Well, that's not what we're here to do. If Bronny goes 55th, all of the other rumors and teams that we've heard potentially interested that weren't given workouts or interviews or even a chance, well, then what was this process? This was a process that Clutch, LeBron, orchestrated to make sure that Bronny went 55. We've heard from Bronny himself. He's supposed to be in the league. His top priority isn't playing alongside his father. So then this result of him falling to 55, based on where the other draft position is, it'd be hard not to feel it's a product of his father. So this is such a bizarre situation. I've had people reach out to me because, you know, they know that I'm kind of plugged into the situation. Hey, we're going under the 54.5. I don't know. I haven't placed the bet again. This situation is so bizarre. I don't think there's anything that could happen that would be, for me, a stunner. I know people would be stunned if he came off the board at 32. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be stunned if he came off the board at 17. I mean, it would be incredible to see, but this is just a one-of-one situation, Ben. There is absolutely no comparison.
That draft position prop has moved back. 54.5 is the number. The juice heavily on the over, which means 55 or later. Only 58 picks in total in the 2 rounds of this 2024 NBA draft. As you saw, the team favored to select Bronny James, the Los Angeles Lakers, currently at a minus 165 price. So, JY, that is Bronny Watch. Now let's talk about the prospect, Bronny James, looking to make that evolution to the association. Of course, last year at USC, not the season he was anticipating in his freshman campaign. Due to the cardiac arrest event that he had during summer workouts, only played in 25 games, averaging less than 5 points per game, just a little bit more than 2 boards and 2 assists per game. Is Bronny James the prospect NBA ready?
On the defensive side of the ball, yes. He's an elite defender defensively. He's a very good playmaker. Now, does he need to work? I could say this, folks, as a coach, because I did this when I did a ton of recruiting at the college level. Offer a scholarship to a player if I can't see them play. And I think that is the problem with what Clutch Sports may have done is I don't get to see him play. I can't get my eyes on him. I can't put him through a workout. So we'll see if it backfires on Clutch. I'm wondering if a team just goes out there and gets him and maybe dares the Lakers to make a trade to trade back up into the second round for some assets.
I just want to comment because I think it's a great point by Coach, and it again is why I've not decided to reinvest in this market, because there are people who have said this and it sounds ridiculous, but I'm not sure if it is.
Right.
But if you take Bronny at 35, whomever, I don't remember off the top of my head who's drafting 35, okay? If you do that and can force the Lakers to give you 2 future seconds, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
And, of course, the Lakers would give that up if it meant LeBron stayed on their roster. It got one of one, Ben. One of one.
So many components to this conversation for a new head coach to deal with in Los Angeles as well under J.J. Redick. The Lakers are slated to have 2 picks in the 2024 NBA draft. Number 17 overall, that's tonight. 55th overall, that's tomorrow. And we keep it rolling here on SportsGrid's NBA Draft Special.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
Tyrrell Hatton having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
We are moments away from round number 1 of the 2024 NBA Draft officially getting underway. In just a few minutes, the Atlanta Hawks, for only the second time in their franchise's history, will be on the clock, selecting first overall in the NBA Draft. We welcome you back to SportsGrid's 2024 Draft Special. It's Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, and our coach James Young with you through the entirety of night number 1, round number 1 of the 2024 NBA Draft. So, Kev, we start at number 1 overall. It has been a story of odds movement over the last week and a half or so, and in the last half an hour or so. The closing number on Zachary Rizache to be the number 1 overall pick, minus 2,000. How do we reach this point with the Hawks looking at Rizache as their new face of the franchise?
So the minus 2,000 is the big guns have come out within the last 10 to 15 minutes and basically said he's going first overall. What led Atlanta to the decision to draft Rizache, what we believe, at least the big influence, was Alex Sarr wasn't an option. When this market came out and came available, Sarr was the expected choice at number 1 overall. I think the consensus big boards would tell you he's the best player in the class. And for Atlanta, there's a fit. They are not tied to Clint Capella, nor even Onyeka Okongwu. So this is a team that has the ability, no matter what happens with their guards, no matter what happens with their forwards, to trust Alex Sarr to be a building block. And he declined to go to a workout at any point in time with Atlanta. Is that because he didn't want to be a Hawk or desperately wanted to be a Wizard? Considering the state of that second sentence, it feels a bit unlikely. But nevertheless, that decision taking out of Atlanta's hands left them choosing between what is seemingly Rizache or Klingon
and Klingen could be a faller tonight. So we end up here with the expectation he'll go first overall.
Just 2 weeks ago, Alex Sarr, also out of France, was a minus 190 favorite to be the first overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks. Plus 185 was the number on his countryman, Zachary Rizache. And one guy who was all over it, that was our coach, J.Y. James Young. When you look at the prospects, J.Y., what is it about the game of Rizache that has led him to be such a strong odds-on favorite to be that first overall selection?
I think, Ben, when you look at his size and you look at the fact of his catch-and-shoot ability, he had some games late in the season where he shot the ball extremely well from three. With his length, he projects himself to be a 3-and-D guy. Especially if you look at the fact with DeAndre Hunter's contract, it makes sense for Atlanta to move on from Hunter, possibly get something in return, and then slide in Rizache into that spot. So to me, that's more why I looked at it. I looked at the fact of where the fit is, and I think you're going to see that tonight. It may not be best available player according to draft boards. I think it's going to go, a lot of it going to go to what is the team need, because you don't have that superstar draft.
And when the Atlanta Hawks are officially on the clock, we will let you know as soon as the pick becomes official and it is in. Of course, we will keep you updated as well. So, Kev, Zachary Rizache, the odds-on favorite at minus 2,000 to be that number one overall pick. Alex Sarr on a slight slide was a minus 1,100 favorite to be the number two pick to the Washington Wizards. What can those in the nation's capital expect out of Sarr?
Well, that is a player that, again, for me, fits the billing a lot more of a number one overall pick. The super high defensive floor, not just rim protection, but switchability on the perimeter is what's have people very, very excited about Sarr. And he's shown some ball handling chops, some self-creation in the half court. He can actually run the break a little. You always want to be careful with player comparisons, but think a little Bam Adebayo. Now, he's 7 foot tall, so if I told you Bam was 7 foot, again, say you end up going first overall. I don't know if he can check all the boxes at the highest level that which Bam does, but Sarr stepping in and being a defensive anchor for Washington is not something that they have had in a very, very, very long time.
The Atlanta Hawks officially now on the clock. We will let you know when the expected outcome becomes official. Alex Sarr plays his pro ball currently in the Australian Professional League, known as the NBL. He will soon be in the NBA. JY, now we go to a conversation with maybe some for more familiar names here stateside. Some of those college stars that should expect to hear their names early and often. Top 5, top 10 in the first 14 picks, known as the NBA Draft Lottery. Who are some prospects that people out there should be paying attention to on this Wednesday night?
Well, right off the bat, you could talk about the two kids from UConn in Castle and obviously in Donovan Klingen and where they fit in. Obviously, Klingen as his side is 7'2". I've talked about his rebounding ability, his ability to score in the low post has gotten better, but most importantly, his defense as a rim protector. Castle could be a dog right there at the front of your point of attack defense as a point guard, long, athletic, can really do a lot of different things. But there's a lot of other guys, like a Reed Shepherd, who's so explosive in regards to his ability to shoot the ball, especially off the bounce. Dalton Knecht, maybe the best pure shooter in the draft in his ability to knock down threes, but also get you off the bounce. There's so many intriguing names, but the two that stand out that I want to see where they fall, because there's been rumors of them falling, is Isaiah Collier and Rob Dillingham. Simply put, Rob Dillingham is a walking bucket. You want to talk about like Lou Williams, you want to talk about Jamal Crawford, a guy that you can plug in and say, go get me a shot. Look at the shooting percentage at 47.5%. This guy can score in all different ways. So you look at a guy like Rob Dillingham, can a team look at Rob Dillingham, even if he slides, and say, this is a guy I could put into my second unit and score with abundance. When you look at a guy like Isaiah Collier, he's a little bit thicker. I'll give you a different player. How about like a Deion Waiters, right? A shot volume guy, but stocky, tough, could create his own shot, not scared of the moment. So I'm curious to see, guys, where those two guys will fall, because I think they step into the right situation, they could help teams from day one.
And Kev, if the SportsGrid audience was with us around 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time in the conversations around this 2024 draft class, you might be thinking it is lacking in star power. But you highlighted two guys in their freshman year at some of the biggest blue bloods in college basketball that everybody should know. Kentucky's Reed Sheppard, a heavy favorite to go number 3 overall. The Houston Rockets have that selection as of this moment. And Steph Castle, who is the odds-on favorite to go 4th overall to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, Reed Sheppard is kind of an easy sell because he does everything really, really well. Reed Sheppard shoots it well, he defends well, he passes well, he has plus athleticism. This is really a can't-miss guy. I can't promise you he makes a million all-star teams, but if you use Fred VanVleet as a comparison, who's an NBA champion that made an all-star team, I think that's your low-end outcome. For Steph Castle, this is someone where if injury did not hit him very early on at UConn, he might have been the consensus first pick. Look, I know the competition was bad, but I'll throw this out there. Per 36, his first 2 college games averaged 24, 11, and 6 on a 78% true shooting percentage. Steph Castle, at his size as a guard, can be a superstar in this league.
So as we are here in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks are now on the clock. We will get you that official confirmation when what is expected. Zachary Rizache, as the hefty odds-on favorite, is the number 1 overall pick. And as I am hearing, that is official. What was expected in the last 48 hours is now confirmed. Zachary Rizache, the number 1 overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks. Out of France, it is our 2nd consecutive year. A French player has been the first overall selection. Victor Wembanyama, a year ago to the San Antonio Spurs. Zachary Rizache in 2024 to the Atlanta Hawks. JY, what can those in the ATL expect out of Rizache?
Immediately a guy that can catch and shoot, a long and lanky defender, obviously being at 6'9". Here's the thing, folks. His strength's got to get better, only at 215 pounds, so his ability to finish at the rim has got to be something he's got to work on his game.
Minus 2,000, Kev. Is this what you expected to be the case?
It's what I expected. It's not even close to what I would have done if I was in that room.
The Washington Wizards now on the clock with the 2nd overall pick, but some more on what the Atlanta Hawks can expect moving forward now after selecting Zachary Rizache next on SportsGrid's Draft Special.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau!
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
Having a day. The Englishman, 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Ancer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Ancer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Ancer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
The 2024 NBA Draft now officially underway, and the first selection off the board out of France, Zachary Rizache, a minus 2,000 favorite to go first overall to the Hawks. What was expected, Kevin, is now confirmed. But it's not exactly all green pastures in the ATL. An offseason of uncertainty is ahead. Will Rizache play alongside Trae Young and DeJounte Murray? You're a betting man. You know the odds pretty well. If you had to set a favored side, yes or no, that both Murray and Young will be on the Atlanta Hawks in 2024-25, what are those odds looking like?
I always say try and be careful betting on the trades, but the no is a heavy, heavy favorite with both guys in a ton of trade rumors. And I will say I think it's more likely DeJounte is dealt because they have less committed to DeJounte Murray. I think he's the lesser player, but apparently would return more in the open market. The Lakers have continuously been mentioned. I think perhaps what the Lakers leave tonight's draft with will go a long way in telling us if that is a possibility. But unlike last year when Wemby came off the board, despite how bad the Spurs were, and I'm sure some people touched that NBA title future, maybe even a playoff future, not the same result coming out of this here tonight. And even if you're someone who's high on Rizache, the surrounding pieces are completely up in the air with not a lot of optimism.
The Atlanta Hawks were 10 games below 500, 36-46, but still finished in the 10 spot in the Eastern Conference to reach the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. Now, pick number 2 is off the board. The pick is in. The Washington Wizards have selected Alex Sarr. He plays professional basketball in Australia in the NBL, but is, of course, a native of France. So 2 French players go off the board, 1 and 2. JY, Alex Sarr was a minus 1,100 favorite to be that second overall selection. It was a battle between Sarr and Rizache for who would be that first overall pick. Sarr falls to number 2. But what is Washington getting in Alex Sarr?
At the end of the day, guys, they got the guy that I believe they wanted, especially after they traded Daniel Gafford to Dallas during the season. When you look at a guy like Alex Sarr, I'm going to give you comparisons, folks, at times. Low end, Nick Claxton. High end, I'm going to go Jaren Jackson Jr. So think about the ability to protect the rim, be a shot blocker, right? Can play the 4 or 5, can switch out on ball screens, extremely active. So he's got that in his game right now. It's about, honestly, guys, the shooting. Can he improve his shooting? And obviously, he's still a little bit raw in regards to throw the ball into the post and have him go score. That's why you look at and you compare him to a Claxton or a Triple J. Those are guys who are not back to the basket 5s. So defensively, Ben, he's ready to step in and help right away for a team that, let's be honest, doesn't have a lot of strong defenders.
It is the now 12th consecutive year that in the NBA draft we have seen multiple international prospects go off the board in the top 10. They just happen to go 1 and 2. Zachary Rizache to the Atlanta Hawks, Alex Sarr to the Washington Wizards. Kev, many would consider Sarr maybe the better prospect, but of course, because of whatever off-the-court reasons, things did not work out to go number 1 to the Atlanta Hawks. Can Alex Sarr be an immediate impact player for the Wiz?
I think so, and he's going to get the opportunities in Washington throughout this day here. At some point, I think we could see Rookie of the Year odds. Sarr won't be far off that lead spot due to, again, what should be an opportunity in Washington. The Wizards today made a move, sending Denny Avdija out the door. There's thoughts Kyle Kuzma could follow as well. I know there will be some Jordan Poole. He's going to get his attempts, but Sarr will as well. There's got to be a lot of excitement in Washington to get the second pick, but have what is the consensus top player really force his way into your building. Not common for Wizards fans.
Second worst record in the NBA a season ago, just 15-67. Drafted second overall. We'll talk about the Detroit Pistons, who had the worst regular season record, and somehow the ping pong balls do not favor those in the Motor City as they fall to number 5. The Houston Rockets now on the clock with that third overall pick. But as we go back to Alex Sarr, JY, as you compare the prospect profiles of Sarr and his countryman, Zachary Rizache, what is the main difference that you see between these two players?
Well, I think it's one is stronger offensively and the other is stronger defensively. You look at Risache as his ability to shoot and score, but Sarr his ability to defend. And I think what you're going to see is if who's going to have the better rookie year, it's probably, in my opinion, going to be Sarr because he's going to get the minutes. He's going to play a ton. They're going to put him at that center position and play him, I would say, 30 minutes a night and let him figure it out. So, yes, the points per game at 9.4 is not anything crazy, but still 52%. This is where you got to be a little bit concerned. It's only 4.3 rebounds, and that's where you get sometimes that Jaren Jackson Jr. comparison as someone that has a 5, maybe doesn't rebound enough with enough ferocity. But this kid, I think, is going to get the time, and I think he will probably have the better rookie year than Risache because of his ability to defend.
The Wizards have 3 first-round picks now in the 2024 NBA draft because of that deal with the Blazers earlier this evening. Devi Avila makes his way to Portland. In return, that number 14 overall selection goes back to the nation's capital. So Washington on the clock at 14th overall and number 26 tonight. The 9th consecutive year, at least one NBA organization has made 3 first-round selections. We have some more betting trends as well. This is the 2nd consecutive year, which is now a record for back-to-back seasons, that a non-U.S. college basketball player has been drafted first overall. Victor Wembanyama in 2023, Zachary Risache in 2024. Might we see our first college hooper off the board at 3rd overall?
Every expectation is yes. Every expectation is it would be Reed Shepherd, as long as we don't have to change what's behind us and say, uh-oh, here comes a new team. And I'll go a step further. It's not often, but it has happened. If this ends up being an upset and it's not Reed Shepherd, you would expect it to be Donovan Clingan, maybe Stephon Castle. I think it means the Rockets have a deal in place to trade the player. If this is not Reed Shepherd, something is going on. All indications have been this is the player the Rockets view as the best in the class.
The Houston Rockets are on the clock with the 3rd overall selection. Will we find out who Houston has selected? We'll tell you after the break. Back right here on SportsGrid 2024 NBA Draft Special.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
So having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
Welcome back to SportsGrid's 2024 NBA Draft Special. The Houston Rockets were on the clock, but the pick is now officially in. With the number 3 overall selection in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Rockets have selected Reed Sheppard out of Kentucky. Only 1 year in Lexington, Kev, but you could see the promise of Reed Sheppard as he takes that next step into the association. When we started our draft special and our coverage tonight, you highlighted 2 guys, Steph Castle and Reed Sheppard. What is it about Reed's game that you like so much?
Absolutely everything. The efficiency numbers are completely ridiculous. 54, 52, 83 shooting splits are nearly unheard of. He is arguably the best shooter in this class. He had one of the highest vertical leaps at the combine, so there's no athleticism questions here either. A pedigree player coming from a not just a basketball family, basketball royalty in Kentucky. And again, the FVV comparison is a good one because of what he did at Wichita State. Except that was at Wichita State, and he was a guy who was there for 4 years. Yeah. Reed is a one-and-done against SEC competition. And I'll say this quickly. For those who say, come on, you're deciding a guy who averaged 12, 4, and 4, that's why Cal's coaching at Arkansas. The fact that this kid nor Rob Dillingham started these games for Kentucky is why they needed to make a move. Consistently, Cal has the best eye of NBA talent. His inability to get the most out of them while in Lexington is why he's no longer there. But it has continuously made Kentucky guards the safest bet year in, year out. Houston Rockets, A+.
17, now make it 18 consecutive NBA drafts. The Wildcats have had at least one player selected. This is their 59th first-round selection in program history. That is the most of any men's college basketball programs, translating that success to the NBA draft. JY, there are some that think Reed Sheppard is one of the 5 best prospects in this draft and might have one of the 5 best NBA careers from the 2024 draft class. What is your evaluation of Reed Sheppard?
This guy can shoot the lights out. He was number 3, honestly, on my big board after Ricochet and Sarr because of his ability to make shots. 53.6% field goal shooting percentage. Folks, that's a guard. That's a guard. We're not talking about a big that's just hanging in the lane. This is the guy who could shoot the ball. He's so, for his age, guys, he's so smart. He's a cerebral player. But to me, I like it that I feel like he gets after it defensively. I know people are going to look at his size and say, oh, he's only about 6'2", 6'3", can he do it? 187 pounds. He plays bigger than his size. And I think that's the thing that's important. So he should be able to score right away. If you want to look at someone maybe like a Derek White, and I'm going to give a crazy one, could he be almost with his shooting splits a Nash-like player? Could he be a 50-40-90 shooting the ball? He's got the capability. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but he has that capability that he could be a big-time scorer and shoot it from the 50% range overall, 40% from 3, and 90% from the line.
Kev, in H-Town, there's a lot to like about this Rockets team. They finished with a 41-41 record this past season and even 500. And down the home stretch, really pushed Golden State for one of those play-in spots in the Western Conference. This is the 4th consecutive NBA draft. The Rockets have had a top 4 pick. Here it's 3rd overall with Reed Sheppard. Are the building blocks in place for the Rockets, and what else might they do here in this NBA offseason?
So I think the Rockets have just an incredible set of players inside their building. I think that they are potentially set up to make a horrific decision with their eye on Kevin Durant. Look, Kevin Durant is an all-time great. He is grossly overrated in this league, and they think he's going to win them a championship in 2026, month of April. Yeah. Stop this. It's ridiculous. It's an awful decision, and it's something the Phoenix Suns are unwilling to let them do, and the Rockets should count their blessings. I don't know if every single guy in the room will be there long term because there are so many guys between Reed, Thomas, Whitmore, Şengün, Jabari, Jalen Green, it's Tariq Eason. There's so many guys. But pushing this all in for Kevin Durant a year from now, I'm good. Let's run this core. Stop letting Ime Udoka press the panic button. You have nothing but time.
Year number 2 under Ime Udoka is on deck for the Houston Rockets. So far, we have seen 3 minus money odds-on favorites go off the board, 1, 2, 3. Zachary Rizache to the Atlanta Hawks. Alex Sarr, number 2 overall to the Washington Wizards. And Reed Shepherd, who was a minus 280 favorite, third off the board to the Houston Rockets. Will the trend continue with odds-on favorites at the 4th overall pick? San Antonio Spurs are on the block.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau!
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
Having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So I'm super excited for the future of Live.
The pick is in for the San Antonio Spurs at number 4 overall. The selection by San Antonio out of UConn, Stephon Castle. A minus 180 favorite at close to be this 4th overall selection. He goes number 4 to San Antonio. A year after selecting Victor Wembanyama with the 1st overall pick, they have a backcourt pair there in San Antonio. JY, we go to you first. What about Steph Castle's game enamors you the most with this selection for San Antonio?
His defense on the front of point of attack, of being a point guard. And to me, when you talk about point guard play, it's just as much what you can do defensively as you could do offensively if you're able to stop and slow down teams or make teams start their offense further away from the basket. But when you look at him offensively, it's not going to blow you away with its points per game, but the field goal shooting percentage at 47.2%. The guy can make shots. He's a very crafty finisher around the basket. I think he's a volume scorer. He's a guy that could score, and I think it's filled up and will score more than his 11.1 points per game he had at UConn. He's going to be offensively like a volume scorer, like an R.J. Barrett. But I think he's going to be a much better player than R.J. because of his ability to defend at 6'6", 215 pounds. This is where, especially a young guy, 19, 20 years old, you have your bookends. You have Castle at the point, you got Wemby as your 4, and you still got another pick coming up.
I will say, there may be some out there that weren't ultimately fired up about this draft. The betting public might be in love. We have no upsets. We've gone chalk throughout this entire situation there. there were early weeks or this past weekend plus 250s for that top 3 exact order, which we saw cash, that were still minus 110, minus 150s today that people were playing. Stephon Castle at points in today was a plus price to go 4th overall. Was never at any point not the favorite to go 4th, and continuously was moved back up. So it means people were clicking that number. For a draft that a lot of people feels have uncertainty about it, there's been nothing uncertain so far, Ben.
Not from the betting perspective. And that exact order, by the way, to have Reza Shea number 1, Sarr number 2, Shepard number 3, and Steph Castle with the 4th overall pick, also in minus money at minus 140. Kev, I do think it bears repeating. Victor Wembanyama, the prince that was promised last year, his coronation as the number 1 overall pick to the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs have 2 selections in the top 8 this year. 4th overall, they get Stephon Castle. We'll see what they do just a little bit later on at number 8. Only 22 wins for San Antonio in Wemby's debut season. What can fans expect this upcoming year in San Antonio?
I bet Victor Wembanyama to win league MVP at 50-1, and it was immediately moved down to 35-1 within less than 24 hours of the market being open. How's that for expectation?
Yeah.
The second year this kid's in the league, he legitimately has a chance to win league MVP. And I mean, he legitimately has a chance to win league MVP. I think he can easily be one of the 5 best players in this league consensus by the time we close next NBA season. Getting a guard on that basketball team was incredibly important, Ben, for that happening. And, Coach, I'll shoot it your way because I know we've talked plenty about Wemby's immediate impact in this league.
Simply put, a pop doesn't mess this up. Watch the uptick of minutes. If this kid gets 35 minutes a night, guys, we're talking 25, 14, 4 or 5 blocks, 4 or 5 assists, and the ability to impact the game will be the best defensive player in the NBA the next 15 years. Lock it in right now. And then Kevin's right. He's going to be, it may not be next year, but I think it's 2 years out, and we will see this guy now, Victor Wembanyama, be a top 5 player in the NBA.
So it's the opening night of the 2024 NBA draft, and the first 4 selections were as chalk gets, minus money favorites, and all 4 spots go off the board accordingly. The exact order was minus money at minus 140. So welcome the Detroit Pistons, who were just on the clock with the 5th overall selection, but the pick is now in. It is our first upset of the night, and it is a large plus money price. 20-1 was the number on Ron Holland to be the 5th overall selection. The pick is now in. The Pistons select Ron Holland out of G League Unite. Kevin, the 2024 college basketball recruiting class.
Yes.
Holland was the number 2 prospect in the country. Originally committed to Texas, decided to go the G League route. What do the Pistons see in Holland?
Well, they see one of the best players in this class. For those who were with us on NFL Draft Night, when Michael Penix was selected, it was met with, what are they doing? Appropriately in this draft, when we get an upset, it's, oh my gosh, they did the right thing. I think Ron Holland is certainly a better player than Matas Buzelis, who was the favorite to go in this slot. Now, you mentioned the 20-1 number on Ron Holland. It's not the only upset. Buzelis, of course, but officially now, Donovan Clingan, as we alluded to on this show, a man without a home. Not selected in the top 5, an upset from the market to be a top 5 pick, but in no category, picks 1 through 5 was favored to be selected, Ben.
And Donovan Clingan was a hefty favorite, nearly a $4 favorite, closing at minus $3.90 to be a top 5 pick. That ticket does not cash. We will talk about Donovan Clingan's slide, but first we go to the Motor City. JY, it's been an interesting offseason already in Detroit. The dismissal of Monty Williams after only 1 year and a record-breaking contract at this point an offseason ago. So the Pistons focused on the future. What does Detroit get in Ron Holland?
A young athlete who can get up and down the floor, that's a rugged defender, and fits this young Pistons team. It may not be what you would think they would need to get, but this could be the star forward. You could play him as a 3, because of his ability and his length to defend and get put down the floor. He also, if he's a 2, he addresses your wing depth. So this does check the boxes. Now, it makes it interesting enough because what happens to me, and now I'm circling at a guy like Ivy. Could this be, he be moved out? I don't think Killian Hayes comes back. Obviously you have Thompson, you have Doran, you have Cade. And Kevin and I have talked about this a bunch of times when I've been on with him. No one is safe in Detroit. I mean, obviously the coach isn't safe, but nobody on this roster is safe. This kid is safe. And listen, he does have the upside and the trajectory to be a star player in this league.
The Detroit Pistons had the worst record in the NBA this past season, 14-68. They were tied for one of the 3 highest percentages to have the number 1 overall pick. They slid to 5. It was the same story a year ago, a little bit more debilitating in Detroit to not be involved in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Number 5 overall is where the Pistons selected back in 2022. The 3rd consecutive year Detroit has made that 5th overall selection. Kev, what are you seeing on Detroit or any other updates that you are tracking down right now?
Yeah, we've got right now a lot of conversations around what is going to happen with Donovan Clingan. We have heard Memphis is making a phone call. Portland making a phone call to trade with Charlotte. A lot of, I see right now, I'm going to give Jake Fisher top credit here of Yahoo Sports, who seems to be looking like this will be Memphis getting up to this spot and making the pick. Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN, is saying that Portland's making the phone call here, but the latest I'm seeing is that the Grizzlies can get up to 6 and get Donovan Clingan, who they have coveted in this entire process.
Currently on the clock, the Charlotte Hornets with the 6th overall pick. JY, quickly here on the prospect that is the 2-time national champ in Donovan Clingan. Why are so many NBA franchises enamored?
It's his defense and ability to be a rim protector. And if you look at a team like Memphis, they miss Steven Adams. And if you look at what they do with Triple J, you need to have a rim protecting 5 there. Donovan Clingan checks that box for a Memphis team who should be much better next year.
Donovan Clingan's draft position prop as we got underway on this opening night of the 2024 NBA draft was an over-under of 3.5. The over had the hefty juice, so the slight slide is on. When we come back from our commercial break, will Donovan Clingan still be on the board? We'll let you know up next, live right here on SportsGrid.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
So having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead, and that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
The Charlotte Hornets are on the clock with the 6th overall selection in the 2024 NBA Draft. You have a stunned look on your face, my friend, OK Dubs, Kevin Walsh. What is the reason for the face?
Listen, I don't want to take your role.
If it's big enough breaking news and it's this much of a shocker.
Yeah, it's not Donovan Clingan, and it's not the Memphis Grizzlies selecting here in this spot.
So the 6th overall pick is now in. Despite trade rumors and speculation, would Charlotte move the selection? They have not. Tajon Salon out of France is the number 6 overall pick to the Charlotte Hornets in the 2024 NBA Draft. JY, we go right to you. Plus 380, Salon's number to be the 6th overall selection. Actually the second best price, but still our second consecutive upset. You have been high on Salon as a prospect. How come?
Well, his ability to defend, if you look at it, he's kind of like an Aaron Gordon type. And if you kind of look at it from this vantage point, I think he was going in the top 10. I do think this was a little bit high for him. But if you look at the fact of P.J. Washington leaving, they do need someone that is a wing defender. They don't have strong defenders here. So he does check that box in the ability to defend here. I just was thinking that this could be someone, guys, you could have made a trade and moved down and got more assets and probably still got Salon. Kevin, I'm frankly stunned that they didn't move back and still got Salon probably at about pick 9.
So, look, I want to give some credit here. Kristen Peak of Yahoo Sports actually earlier today tweeted out the potential of this happening here at 6th overall, Charlotte taking Salon. That was a tweet that came out at 4:04 p.m. So, 4.5 hours ago, she had been given information. I sent out a few wagers I placed heading into tonight, including one of Salon going in front of Cody Williams, largely through that message to her. So, 1, thank you.
Cash.
Love to see it. But 2, it makes for a very interesting scenario. Now, the fact that Memphis had a team willing to trade back, right? And we know how much they've loved Clingan. How did this fall apart? We don't know the pick yet for 7 here. If this isn't Donovan Clingan, I think it would be more stunning than Holland going 5th, quite frankly. So this is very odd that deal was not done.
From the odds perspective, Tajon Salon, his draft position prop 8.5, the under had the juice at -150, expected to go off the board in the first 8 selections. He was a hefty -500 favorite to be a top 10 pick. So it's not overwhelmingly an upset that he is the 6th overall selection made by the Charlotte Hornets. But JY, right back to you with Donovan Clingan on a small slide with some of the rumored trade speculation around this 6th overall pick, and Dalton Connect, one of the best bucket getters in the college game a season ago, being the favorite to go to Charlotte, still available. This is what causes the upset. So Salon goes in front of both Clingan and Connect, and you have to think at this moment, Portland is salivating looking at the big man from UConn.
They got the guy they wanted, and they didn't have to move. This is mind-boggling because I thought the whole time Clingan was going to go early, and this is where Zach Edey was going to come up, unless Clingan fell to them, and he has. So to them, this is perfect. So Rob Will, pack your bags. DeAndre Ayton, no denominating no more. You're probably going too. You reset with that young core with Sharp, with Scoot, with Simons, and not a strong presence to defend. So now you go get Donovan Clingan and you plug him into the center position. Jeremy Grant, with one of the worst contracts in the NBA, maybe he gets moved. I don't know who wants him, but someone will take him. This makes sense. And for Portland, who I thought was going to have to come up if they wanted Clingan, got Clingan. Stayed at 7.
Kev, as we have discussed at length, Donovan Clingan's unique odds journey here in the 2024 NBA Draft was the second best choice, or had the second shortest number to beat many picks, including 1 overall, 3 overall, 5 overall, and for most of today, the 7th overall selection. But he did close as the favorite, albeit a plus money number at plus 340 to go 7th overall to Portland. Is this ultimately where you believe Donovan Clingan will end up?
Yes, and this is, as you said, where he ended up being a favorite. But I want to kind of use the conversation that we are now in the middle of having to put into perspective what Charlotte just did.
Yeah.
them passing on Donovan Clingan, allowed to coach. We don't know Clingan's going to Portland.
Right.
Just completely speak as if he's already on Portland. Nobody stopped him because we all think that's what Portland is going to do. What did the Hornets just do? Salon is a player that I think certainly has some high upside. I think he's a top 15-ish guy in this class. But Charlotte could have taken upside swings on Donovan Clingan. They could have taken an upside swing on Cody Williams. And again, this was a team connected to Dalton Connect. Not an upside swing, a safer play. It's just really interesting that the Charlotte Hornets drafted a guy again. I'll use this as a frame of reference. Offensive Rookie of the Year. No chance for Salon.
There are 2 cameras here for the SportsGrid 2024 NBA Draft Special. I would love a camera on the War Room in the Rose City because the pick is now officially in, and I am sure the Blazers front office is celebrating. Without moving, Portland remains at number 7 overall, and they select out of UConn Donovan Clingan. The 7'2" big man is one of the elite rim protectors in this 2024 NBA draft. Just how ecstatic, JY, is the Trailblazers organization at this very moment?
I'm speechless that this happened. I mean, I thought Charlotte got rid of their mess when Michael Jordan left, but obviously the mess is still there because, anyway, it's not important. Donovan Clingan, 64% from the floor, but his ability, like Ben said, to defend, rim protect. It's so important in today's NBA, especially when you have young guards who struggle to defend. Chauncey Billups made his name as a rugged player, played with those Detroit teams that won a title based on defense. I'm not calling this guy Ben Wallace, but I'll tell you this much. You can look at a Marcus Gasol, serviceable pro, shot block, smart, can dime you up, gets to the right spots. This is a great pick for Portland. Let's see what happens next with this franchise.
Clingan was a plus 340 favorite to go 7th overall. That plus money price has cashed. It's the first time since 2012 that UConn has had multiple lottery picks. Steph Castle at 4, Clingan at 7. More on the SportsGrid Draft Special next.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
So having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
So just to catch you up on what we have seen the last few minutes on the opening round on night number 1 of the 2024 NBA Draft with the 6th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Tajon Salon out of France, remaining at that draft position. There were many that thought maybe teams would be on the way up to get Donovan Clingan. The Portland Trail Blazers did not have to move. Portland selects Donovan Clingan, the two-time national champion, at number 7 overall. A plus 340 price for Clingan to go 7th overall. And now, for the second time in the first 8 picks of this 2024 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs hope to add some security and reinforcements to Victor Wembanyama. At 4th overall, it was Clingan's UConn teammate, Stephon Castle. Right now, Kev, Dalton Knecht remains on the board. Yep. What ultimately do you believe the Spurs do with the 8th overall pick?
Well, Knecht is someone that they had ties to, but we didn't know if he would end up being here. But the Hornets, growing infatuated with drafting Salon, has allowed that Dalton Knecht slip to take place and put him on the board. Odds angle, all right, and these were all calculated a little bit, within the last few hours or so. But Devin Carter, who was favored to go 8, 9, and 10, is potentially the pick if they want to go double backcourt with Steph Castle already off the board. Salon was, at the time of kind of documenting this all, your next choice. He's already gone. Rob Dillingham, Ron Holland, gone. Steph Castle, they drafted. Then you get to Dalton Knecht. So this would still be an upset in the market here for Knecht to land 8. I think for those that made that wager, and I'm sure there are some, you were hoping on a slide. Step 1 complete. Do you get to step 2? The one thing I would add is, and again, I'll have some unpopular takes tonight, I promise, I would draft Rob Dillingham. They're not going to. They're not. But it's absolutely what I would do here if I were the Spurs.
That would be the 60th all-time first-round selection for Kentucky as a basketball program, adding on to their record amount. But Dalton Knecht's draft position prop was 7.5, and the under had the hefty juice at minus 250. For him to even be on the board at 8th overall is an upset. Should San Antonio, JY, take advantage?
They absolutely should. If you really look at what you need, our smart money team needs is, well, they got their point guard. I talked earlier today with Ben, and I thought who could maybe have the best career? It was Steph Castle. So now, here's your floor spacer, right? So everything lined up. And JY, crazy as it sounds, in my mock top 10, I had Dalton Knecht going 8. I'm not being honest with you, I was getting a little nervous that he wasn't going to be there, but this lines up perfectly for that backcourt of Castle and Knecht. The Cell can go to a small forward, you can go with a 3-guard lineup, and then obviously you got Wemby there, and you got floor spacers, you have the driving lanes for Castle. This should be the pick. I'm not going to lie, I'm intrigued by Rob, because I think this is Jamal Crawford 2.0, but I don't think you can pass on the floor spacer of Dalton Knecht.
So a small slide here for Dalton Knecht, but one other name to note, Montes Buzelis, who was the favorite to go 5th overall at plus 120 and had a minus money price, only minus 105, still for Buzelis to be a top 5 selection. He remains on the board as well. Kev, what is the reasoning for the slide for Buzelis here?
Detroit didn't draft him. We actually had a conversation because we're trying to figure out potential wagers of, hey, if they're going to trade back, I love what I'm hearing here. Yeah. If they're going to trade back, right, Detroit, can we pick them off 8, 9, or 10, right? And ultimately, Detroit stayed, went elsewhere. There aren't that many Buzelis connections that we know about because so many thought he was going to Detroit.
And the pick is in at number 8 overall. The San Antonio Spurs have selected the guard out of Kentucky, Rob Dillingham. Kev, moments ago, you said if you were San Antonio, you would take Rob Dillingham. Are you pleased with the selection San Antonio has made?
No, what are they doing? Shams Charania goes on to say he could be on the move to Minnesota. What does that mean? What are you doing? You have the A+++ draft of a lifetime. What are you doing? They're going to trade Rob to Minnesota. Why? He's right there. Steph Castle, 6'6", great defender. Has legitimate lead guard chops. Rob Dillingham, shorter. That's okay, because Steph Castle is 6'6", 225. Rob Dillingham, big shot Bob. I mean, he can make it all happen. I know that's sacrilege, but allow me a little leeway. With Wemby, the MVP ticket, we're cooking with gas, and they're going to send him to Minnesota. I'm not happy. I'm not. I was teased.
Listen, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the favorites to win the Western Conference crown, entering the Western Conference Finals, slated as of this moment to pick 27th overall. We would have to see the return if that trading of rights does become official. At the moment, Rob Dillingham in San Antonio. I stress at the moment. Hour number 2 of our draft special rolls on next.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
Having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead, and that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
Some big blockbuster news as we welcome you to hour number 2, live right here on the 2024 NBA Draft Special on SportsGrid. Stay hydrated, folks. It's a long night here in the opening round of the 2024 NBA Draft. So, Kev, you were oh so close to having your strong desire of Rob Dillingham in San Antonio. At 8 overall, the Spurs make the pick, but they will trade his rights to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We do not know the return going back to San Antonio to pair alongside Victor Wembanyama in the 4th overall pick tonight, Stephon Castle. Kev, what do you make of this trade, at least the details that we have at the moment?
So the details are starting to come out here from both Woj and Shams. A 2031 unprotected first-round selection and a 2023 swap. First of all, what year is it? They were trading 2030 picks.
It's 2024 at last check.
I mean, that is wild. And what are they doing? I don't see that vision at all if I'm San Antonio. I mean, this is the cupboard is bare in terms of we have Wemby and then we got to figure out a whole lot of stuff. Drafting 8th overall. Now, by the way, this is my thing. They weren't drafting Rob. They weren't. They drafted Rob to trade him.
Correct.
So they didn't love anybody here. They didn't love Maltas Puzelis. They didn't love Dalton Connect. And they said, you know what? What if things go wrong in Minnesota? Which, Ann Edwards trade request, Cat, Rudy, okay, you could sell me on it, right? Maybe in 8 years when we're doing this, we'll be talking about what a move. I am disappointed because I got my hopes up.
Yeah.
but it really just says San Antonio didn't love the options at 8, which is bizarre.
The T-Wolves were the 3 seed, JY, in the Western Conference postseason. They upended the defending champs at that time, the Denver Nuggets, in the second round. Were the favorites to win the Western Conference crown before falling to the Dallas Mavericks. And looking forward to next season, the second best price right now for the Timberwolves at plus 450 to win the West, only behind Denver. From the Timberwolves' perspective, what can Minnesota expect out of Kentucky's Rob Dillingham?
Buckets. Simply put, this guy's a scorer. I call him Jamal Crawford. You want to say Lou Williams, whatever you want to say. 47.5% from the floor, 15.2 points per game. If Kyle played him enough, he probably would have scored 20, 22 points a game if he got the minutes. So now you put him in a situation with Minnesota. You have a couple of ways that you could do this. Number one, he starts with Ant in the backcourt, or he comes off the bench, Conley starts, and then that second unit with him and Naz Reid, buckle up. And for the fact that they didn't give up anything until a 2030 pick swap, or the 2031 first-round unprotected pick, we'll worry about 2031 when 2031 gets here. This is a big-time move, and this is a big-time score who goes with a team and now has him and Ant in the backcourt. Good luck guarding those two.
And some big moves follow what just happened at number 8 overall with the 9th overall pick. The Memphis Grizzlies were on the clock, and the pick is now officially in. The biggest man in all of college basketball at 7'4", the pick at number 9 overall by the Grizz, Zach Edey out of Purdue. Kev, I have always said if the year was not 2024 but 1984, it wouldn't be number 9 overall. It would be number 1 overall for Zach Edey, the first back-to-back National Player of the Year in men's college basketball since Ralph Sampson at Virginia in the early 1980s. But college success is not always NBA success. Yep. How does Edey's games translate to the association?
I think that is one of the biggest questions of this entire process. But when you look at his production at Purdue, it is second to none in this class. Full stop. There is not a single player in this class who can go bar for bar with Zach Edey as it pertains to putting numbers up on the board. The thing for Edey, the longer he stayed at Purdue, the more he was able to flash, and perhaps most importantly was cardio, stamina, workload ability. Zach Edey, if he gives you 20 minutes a night, with what he'll be asked to do in this league, won't be close to what he was tasked with doing at Purdue. At sometimes playing 40 minutes in a game, up and down the floor. At 7'4", he has to be able to protect the rim. There is some concern about him in space. I get all of that. But for Zach Edey, this is one of those situations when you tell me where he goes, I go, all right, let's bump him up a couple spots.
Yeah.
Memphis consistently drafts well. Consistently. They get a player with Zach Edey's abilities, which is being 7'4", that becomes super, super enticing.
And, of course, it was an interesting year for Memphis surrounding the Ja Morant suspension. He was back for a few weeks, then a season-ending injury in early January. But this is a Grizzlies team that was the number 2 seed in the Western Conference the 2 previous seasons in the NBA. JY, we now talk about Zach Edey, the prospect from the prices. His draft position prop, 14.5. To be a lottery selection was an upset. It was plus money on the under. To be a top 10 pick, it was a plus 500 price at close. Are you, however, surprised that Edey went 9th overall?
I'm surprised that he went to Memphis because I always thought it was going to be Portland. But when you really pull back, it makes sense. They need a 5 that can protect Jaren Jackson Jr. and be a space eater. So this is going to be a great move for this team that should be much better next year because his ability then to score inside, to rebound in the dunk spot. Now when you drive the ball to the basket, Ja Morant, you're not going to help because you have a 7'4" monster in the dunk spot to finish it. This is a great haul for Memphis, a team that will be much better this upcoming season.
Zach Edey, the 3rd ever Purdue player to be selected in the lottery. Glenn Robinson and Jaden Ivey, the other 2. But the pick is now in at number 10 overall. The Utah Jazz have made their selection with the 10th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Cody Williams is the selection out of Colorado. So we have rounded out the top 10. Cody Williams from CU, that number 10 overall pick. Kev, he was a minus money favorite to be drafted inside the top 10. He does cash that ticket at its bitter end. What can Utah expect out of Williams?
Well, look, this is the most for me guy you probably could have. I mean, a one-and-done prospect whose player is his brother's J-Dub. I mean, we're just all about that. But before we do that, then, because I'll let Coach handle some of that, you mentioned a top 10 ticket cashed. Yes. But, man, there were some upsets. Dalton Connect does not go inside the top 10. Matas Puzelis largely didn't have odds in such a market because it was seen as such a certainty. Devin Carter doesn't go inside the top 10. The upsets pulled by Zach Edey, Ron Holland, and Rob Dillingham, to an extent, have really seen some slides now take place here in this draft. Chicago on the clock. We've heard some rumblings they could look to move this pick here at 11, with the Lakers rumored as a team to trade up. Bronny, I kid. But now Cody Williams off the board at 10 closes out that portion of the draft.
And to an extent where he was selected with who was available on the board, Tijon Salon as well at 6th overall to the Charlotte Hornets, albeit a minus 500 favorite to be a top 10 pick. We'll get to the slides in just a moment. Matas Puzelis, who was a minus 105 price, not to go in the top 10, but in the top 5, and of course Dalton Connect, who didn't even have a price to be a top 10 selection because the draft position prop was 7.5 in the under, so heavily juiced. But first we focus on the prospect that is Colorado's Cody Williams, the younger brother of OKC's Jalen Williams. Does his game match that of his big bro?
Bigger. 6'6", silky smooth. Think of a Jalen Rose, a guy that was silky around the basket, can finish, can create. At 6'6", nice handle, good defender. Now is not the explosive athlete, but a cerebral, smart player who shot it at 55.2%. This is a good pickup here at the end of the top 10 of the draft.
So the top 10 is now done. Cody Williams was a minus 550 favorite to be a top 10 selection. He goes 10th overall to the Utah Jazz. But we're just getting started here on the 2024 NBA Draft Special. It's Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, and our coach James Young. We roll on the other side. The Chicago Bulls now on the clock. Up next.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. These guys make this look so easy.
Tyrrell having a day. The Englishman, 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the overnight lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
We welcome you back to the 2024 NBA Draft Special, live right here on SportsGrid. With the number 11 pick, the Chicago Bulls have made their official selection. The slide ends for Matas Buzelis. He goes number 11 overall to Chicago. He played for G League Unite, and despite the name is from Chicago, Illinois, the hometown kid who played at Hinsdale Catholic High School, a Chicagoland suburb, is now a member of the Bulls organization. Matas Buzelis, Kev, was the favorite to go 5th overall to the Detroit Pistons. He had a minus money price at minus 105 to be a top 5 pick. To be drafted outside of the top 10, that's an upset, but he doesn't go long outside of the top 10, 11th overall to Chicago. How happy are the Bulls with getting to make Buzelis their selection?
Oh, I think they're very, very, very happy. You know, I talked about how awful the situation at USC was this year. The only one comparable was everything with the G League Ignite team. It was a disaster, and they shut the entire program down. And to some degree, teams around the league have said, you know what? We understand Ron Holland still goes 5th, and Buzelis doesn't fall far. Still clearly a lottery pick. Again, we thought he would go 5 due to ties to Detroit here, but going 11 is not a major slip when you consider his season at the G League was not all that great. One thing that made me buy in on the player a little bit more, Ben, is selling the defensive upside of a 6'9 kid with a 6'10 wingspan, strong foundation, can be a potential game-changing piece, weak side help defender in Chicago. I know that's not the way you want to, your all-star is going to block shots on weak side help, but it's a nice starting block here for Chicago. I like the fit for the roster. I really do.
Matas Buzelis began his high school career at Hinsdale Central. Excuse my miss-up right there. I said Hinsdale Catholic. It's Hinsdale Central, but is a native of Chicago, Illinois. So he gets to play for his hometown organization, and the draft position prop was 5.5 for Buzelis, JY. The over did have the juice at minus 165. We did not probably expect him to be on the board at 11th overall, but he ends up in the Windy City. What is the best thing about this prospect that Chicago fans can look forward to?
He's really sneaky good defensively, and he's actually a pretty smart offensive player. And he kind of fits what they're going to do in Chicago, because there's talk about DeMar DeRozan leaving Chicago, so there's a chance for him to slide into that spot at the 3 spot with a team in Chicago that should be, let's be honest, folks, embracing a full rebuild. So Buzelis kind of allows them to kind of do that. Like I said, 44.5%. Listen, 6.6 rebounds a game. He rebounded sneaky good for his size, and at 6'10", let's see, that 209 pounds. Don't worry, folks. He'll put on some weight. When he does, with the way he is defensively, get out of transition, sneaky smart. This is a really good pick that fell right into the Bulls' lap.
I want to pick up something the coach just said. The potential for a rebuild in Chicago. We don't know what's going to happen, but DeMar potentially could end up on the Clippers. Zach LaVine's name is mentioned all the time. Buzelis is actually a guy that I want to see where he's priced when it comes to Rookie of the Year. Now, they still have pieces, Nikola Vucevic and, of course, Kobe White. You would expect to lead the charge. Many don't think Lonzo Ball ever puts the Bull uniform on again. There could be more opportunity than people would expect for Matas Buzelis. I want to hit one more thing. Just again from the markets that were tracked today by our great group and what's been paid out the last 4 picks, Ben. 8th overall, Rob Dillingham, plus 750. Zach Edey, 9th overall, plus 600. 10th, Cody Williams, plus 850. How about Buzelis here? 20-1 to go 11th. So, you have been talking about huge plus money being paid out now. And there's been plus prices before that, but we are talking about big prices now coming off the board here.
We certainly are, and there was another heavy favorite to be a top 10 pick in Providence's Devin Carter at minus 230, who is still on the board at number 12 overall. The Oklahoma City Thunder are on the clock. Matas Buzelis makes his way to Chicago. The Bulls, a 180-1 price to win the Eastern Conference Championship next season, as they have kind of floated in play-in purgatory the last few years in the Windy City. So now we move it forward to OKC. JY, directly to you. The Thunder were the number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference, and yet because of what Sam Presti has done, find themselves in the lottery with a robust amount of picks. The number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference, drafting in the lottery, what luxury does that allow the Thunder?
They could really go wherever direction they want, Ben. If you look at it, one of the things is maybe you want to look at is a secondary ball handler, someone that can kind of take the ball and let SGA to play off the ball a little bit. And obviously the ability to rebound the ball. I do get concerned sometimes with Chet at the 4 as a 5 sometimes. I think you could go look at a 5, but where's the 5 that's available? So someone that can handle the ball will be someone I would look at. And because of the number of players they have that are young, they could actually take a guy and take their time with him.
I believe the pick is in. I'll let you handle this. I'm just going to tell you this. What Coach just said, I don't think he had the pick. If he did, he's sneaky, but I don't think he did. Couldn't describe the player that OKC just drafted more.
And that player that the Oklahoma City Thunder have drafted, Nikola Topic. The pick is in for OKC at number 12 overall. Nikola Topic is the selection for Oklahoma City. So, Kev, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference this season ago, with an MVP contender this upcoming year in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How does Topic round out this roster in OKC?
You know, one of the smart money team needs was a secondary ball handler. You bring in a 6'8" lead guard from when he was playing overseas. I mean, you talk about getting rid of Josh Giddey and then potential replacement here. It couldn't have worked out better for Oklahoma City. The concern is the ACL.
Yep.
We don't have those medicals, and even if, quite frankly, you handed them to me, I wouldn't know what to tell you. But if that is not something the Thunder are worried about, then this is great. And again, why I said what Coach just said was a real premonition there.
Yep.
OKC doesn't have to rush him back from that ACL. They don't need Nikola to be playing minutes earlier than February, just to make sure he's ready for their postseason stretch.
Nikola Topic, a Serbian national, was playing his professional basketball in the Adriatic League over in Europe. He is a 6'6", 18-year-old prospect that is coming off a torn ACL that came out in the pre-draft process. Many thought early on in this pre-draft process he could be a top 5, top 10 pick, but the wingspan not as long, and coupled with the ACL injury, Topic does fall ever so slightly to number 12 overall to Oklahoma City, but still in the lottery. Plenty more on SportsGrid's NBA Draft Special. Up next.
Nashville, help me welcome to the stage the captain of Crushers GC and the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau.
Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
Won the Saudi Open on the Asian Tour in April, and he won the International Series event in Macau in March, beating David Puig in a playoff. Here's a man with 9 career wins, 3 of them on the DP World Tour. 33 years of age from Sacramento, and he is making the most of his chance.
I remember John Catlin playing as a reserve for Charles Howell III, who's injured. If he were to go on to win this, he gets those points. That would move him right at the top 24 number. Move him at 20th currently.
Yeah, another beautiful shot. This guy's making this look so easy.
So having a day. The Englishman 6 under par. He shares the lead with Abraham Answer for the time being at least. Now this is Abraham Answer to stay at 7 under and in all likelihood have the open night lead. And that is wonderfully done. Abe Answer with a 64.
This is what Live Golf's about, man. I had a vision of this 2-3 years ago, seeing what the potential could be, and this is just the start. I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
12 picks down in the opening round on night number 1 of the 2024 NBA Draft, and we bring it to you all live right here on our draft special on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, James Young, our coach with us as well, and I am Ben Stevens. So at number 12 overall, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Nikola Topic out of Serbia, playing already professionally in the Adriatic League despite being just 18 years old. So, Kev, I think the natural next thought is who is on the clock. With the 13th overall pick, that would be the Sacramento Kings. And for Sacramento, at least based on the odds, 2 guys that should not be here. Tennessee's Dalton Knecht, who had a draft position prop of 7.5. The under so heavily juiced at minus 250, there wasn't even a top 10 price on Knecht. And Providence's Devin Carter, who was a minus 230 favorite to go in the top 10 as well. Ultimately, when Sacramento makes that pick, what name do you think will be off the board?
Do you see that top team need there from the Smart Money team needs?
Yes.
Self-sufficient scorer. Admittedly, a bigger need when Malik Monk returning was seen as more of a question mark. We know he's back. The most self-sufficient scorer in the draft at this point in time is Dalton Knecht.
No doubt.
So for Sacramento, that has to be enticing. But there were a lot of talks today that Sacramento could very well look to move this pick right now. Whether that's for Kyle Kuzma as the Wizards look to bring in more assets, whether that's Zach LaVine as the Chicago Bulls look to bring in more assets, I don't know. But Sacramento, I don't think we're going to get this pick right this moment, unless I'm completely wrong. We have the pick in because the Kings are looking around here. I think they've got good options on the board, though, Ben.
When you look at Sacramento, JY, from their roster perspective and what would help this Kings organization moving forward into next NBA season, which prospect fits best with this Sacramento team? And the pick is now officially in, and we'll get your thoughts on the prospect. Out of Providence, the pick now official. At 13th overall, Sacramento has selected Devin Carter, one of the best players in the Big East a season ago, now makes his way to California's capital. JY, I was going to ask you which prospect fits the billing that Sacramento needs most. Is Devin Carter that guy?
Interestingly enough, he is, to me, an outstanding defender. So I thought it would be a connect in regard to the fact that they do not do well at catching, shooting the ball, especially from three-point line. But when you peel it back, this guy defensively, I think maybe the best defensive guard in the draft. You're looking at a Drew Holiday type, a Marcus Smart type, a tough guy, a guy that would really fortify the team. Now, that wonders right off the bat is someone like a Davion Mitchell is probably on the move at this point, because if you bring Devin Carter off the bench, then that takes care of that right there. So he's going to probably lead that second unit, but this is still a guy that's game's gotten better, and his three-point shooting got better this last year. Good pickup here. More guard depth. They run that split screen action. Understand it? You set a screen, someone cuts, someone pops. You need a smart, cerebral player, improving shooter, great defender. Good pick for a guy that slid down to Sacramento.
The 2023-24 Big East Player of the Year average conference contest. Again, minus 230, Kev, was the price on Carter to be a top 10 selection. He was the favorite at one point this afternoon to go 8th overall, 9th overall, 10th overall. He goes 13th overall. Is Sacramento happy that Devin Carter fell into their lap?
They're elated. Look, I never want to say a bad word about Davion Mitchell or anyone that played on that title Baylor Bears team, as they did very well for your boy. But Devin Carter is a better version of Davion Mitchell across the board. This is a national semifinalist for Defensive Player of the Year in college basketball. This is someone who has a 6'8 wingspan compared to Davion's 6'4. And Devin Carter, what he did at Providence, I know it didn't lead to a title. Jared Butler, the lead guard on Baylor, just using that comparison. But Devin Carter was averaging nearly 20 a night for Providence. So you get a guy who I think had top 20 potential on what he did just defensively at the guard position, and pair as many lead guard reps as he has, plus NBA pipeline, dad played in the league. Yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic pick here for a basketball team that wants to win at a high level next year. Devin Carter can help you do that.
Devin Carter, the son of Anthony Carter, who played in the NBA for 13 seasons. He understands what it takes to have success at this next level. So Devin Carter off the board. 13th overall to the Sacramento Kings. Again, a minus 230 favorite to be a top 10 pick. It is the final pick in the lottery up next at 14th overall after a trade earlier this evening. The Washington Wizards, who selected Alex Sarr with the second overall pick, back on the clock. Will Dalton Connect slide stop? Find out after the break here on SportsGrid's Draft Special.